Coming up on Arirang News, the COVID-19 pandemic is choking the growth of the South Korean economy. Business sentiment is at lows not seen since the financial crisis 11 years ago, and next month will likely bring a decline in exports. President Moon Jae-in pledges full support from the government to make sure no jobs are lost because of the outbreak, encouraging labor and management to work together to prevent layoffs. And as South Korea approaches a long holiday weekend, tourist sites are taking extra precautions because while the outbreak is under control right now, it's not over yet. It's 5 p.m. here in Seoul. Thanks for joining us on Arirang News. I'm Devin Whiting. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un's been out of the public eye for a few weeks now amid rumors that he's gravely ill. In the meantime, the North State media are reporting that the regime's third most powerful official has been out and about making on-site inspections. An economic delegation from North Korea is also set to visit Beijing, but reports say that has no connection to any questions about Kim's health. Lee Seung-jae reports.
With North Korean leader Kim Jong-un's whereabouts still a mystery, many consider his younger sister Kim Yo-jong to be next in line in case a power shift is needed. However, others speculate there could be another option, one who does not have the Kim family blood, Pak Pong-ju. Pak, the vice chairman of the State Affairs Commission, is widely considered third in line after the North Korean leader's younger sister. While Kim Jong-un has stayed out of public view for more than 2 weeks, North Korea's state media reported Tuesday on Pak's public activity. According to the Korean Central News Agency, the premier made an on-site inspection of Kim Jong-suk Pyongyang textile factory in the country's capital and other economy-related facilities. Pak was also last seen paying tribute at the Kumsusan Palace of the Sun, along with other top North Korean officials. Meanwhile, according to Reuters, a North Korean economic delegation is set to visit Beijing this week to discuss food supplies and trade issues as the COVID-19 pandemic has had a severe impact on the country's food supply. The delegation is headed there amid conflicting reports about the health of Kim Jong-un. Reuters cited anonymous sources as saying the visit is unrelated to Kim's health status. They added the delegation were already scheduled to meet with officials from China's Ministry of Commerce to discuss trade and bolstering food imports before questions surfaced about Kim's health. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
Global credit ratings agency Moody's projects that among the world's developed economies, the smallest hit to growth from the coronavirus pandemic will be in South Korea. On Tuesday, the agency lowered the country's growth outlook for this year from 0.1% to negative 0.5%. For the United States, though, the figure is minus 5.5%, and for Italy, more than 8% in the red. The outlook for the G20 economies was also lowered from negative 0.5% to negative 4%. The latest production figures highlight how the COVID-19 pandemic is choking the growth of the South Korean economy. Business sentiment is at historic lows, and next month will likely bring a decline in exports. Our Kim Da-mi has the details.
3 months into the COVID-19 pandemic, the local economy continues to struggle. South Korea's monthly industrial output edged down 0.3% in March. Mining and manufacturing industries performed better despite the pandemic, but service production was down over 4% due to the intense social distancing campaign. The figures for services are in fact the lowest since 2000. Consumer spending was down 1%, but facility investment increased by well over 7%. Statistics Korea noted that figures for manufacturing and exports will be even worse next month as the impact of the virus will be greater for major exporting countries. Indicators showing current and future economic conditions both fell by the largest amount in over a decade. The pandemic has also dragged the country's business sentiment for April to a low not seen since the global financial crisis over a decade ago. According to the Bank of Korea on Wednesday, the business sentiment index for all industries was down 3 points on month to 51. Business outlook for next month also fell for both manufacturing and non-manufacturing industries. Companies said economic uncertainties and a lower demand were making the situation difficult. To boost the local economy, South Korea's finance ministry will from next month provide $8.2 billion of new relief loans to small businesses. On top of expanding the first relief package from around $10 billion to over $13 billion, the government has prepared the second round of support for small businesses that are hammered hardest by the pandemic. Adding that the rescue plan comes as the global economy is faced with an unprecedented crisis and recession, Hong vowed to get the country ready for life after the COVID-19 crisis and prepare it for the fourth industrial revolution. 김다미, 아리랑 뉴스.
President Moon has vowed all efforts to protect the Korean people's jobs. He was speaking Wednesday to hotel executives and workers at Grand Walker Hill, Seoul, to thank both management and labor there for recently striking a deal to avoid what he called artificial restructuring. This followed efforts by the Korea Hotel Association and the Korean Federation of Tourist and Service Industry Workers unions, which have also agreed to work together to overcome the crisis together and protect jobs.
일자리 위기가 그 세계에 닥쳐오고 있지만 정부는 하나의 일자리도 반드시 지키겠다는 그런 각오로 여러분과 함께 할 것입니다. 호텔업계 노사가 가장 어려운 시기에 가장 모범적으로 함께 마음을 모았습니다. 구조 조정 대신 고용 유지로 일자리를 함께 지키자는 결의를 다졌습니다.
Moon said he hopes such efforts spread across the service and manufacturing sectors. The president's long stressed that keeping workers employed will be the key to overcoming the COVID-19 crisis. Unlike the Asian financial crisis in 1997, when the focus was massive layoffs, the government set aside over $8 billion to cushion the impact on jobs, and it's unveiled measures worth $32 billion to support the country's key industries to ensure they stay afloat and keep workers employed. Moon expressed hope that the upcoming holiday weekend, as well as the handing out of emergency relief payments, will serve as an opportunity to step up domestic consumption. Time now for an in-depth look at the market news this afternoon, and for that I'm joined by Dr. Kim Se-won, professor of economics at Ewha Women's University. Professor Kim, thank you as always for coming on.
Good afternoon, Devin.
Now we're expecting the much anticipated figure from the U.S. on first quarter GDP. That's due out Thursday U.S. time. What do you think that number will look like, and what effect might it have on the Korean economy and globally?
It is highly expected that the first quarter's U.S. GDP reports looks bad. Actually, global market expects that first quarter's U.S. economic growth will be around negative 3.5% on annual basis. So it would be biggest quarterly contraction since 2008's global financial crisis. But the second quarter will be worse because U.S. economy has been offline from early April due to coronavirus shutdowns. So we can say that in the short run, U.S. declining economy will affect Korean economy in two channels of stock market decrease and trade decrease.
Well, if we're looking at a second quarter that's even worse, some are saying the U.S. economy could take years to recover from this, depending on how you define recovery, 2 or 3 years, even longer. What's your view, Professor?
Actually, President Trump expects U.S. economy will begin its recovery by the end of second quarter of this year because he is providing $3 trillion emergency packages, and U.S. Federal Reserve is providing liquidity unlimited. But quite a few economists and financial market participants expect that U.S. economy begins its recovery next year because it takes a longer time to develop coronavirus vaccine and to recover broken employment.
Right. Well, in the meantime, the Fed is holding its open market committee on Wednesday and Thursday. From all that's been said, though, it seems unlikely, highly unlikely, the Fed can or will lower rates to below zero. What will you be looking for in this meeting?
U.S. Fed's key interest rate is already set to 0% last month. So it doesn't look that U.S. Fed will cut key interest rate further down to negative level today. So in today's FOMC, it is important to understand Fed's intention to change interest rate in the future. With over 26 million unemployed, U.S. market has been hit very hard by COVID-19. So the market expects Fed will maintain 0% level interest rate until the end of next year.
Well, stocks on Wall Street were lower on Wednesday as we wait to get earnings from the big tech companies. The Nasdaq in particular down by almost 1.5%. What's the story there?
U.S. market slightly decreased on Tuesday, like the representative index of S&P 500 return dropped by 0.52% in a single day. This decline was led by concerns on earnings of technology stocks like Netflix, Amazon, Facebook, and so on, and also dropping consumer sentiment of the United States was another burden to market. European markets altogether increased over 1% yesterday. This is mainly due to easing social distancing by European governments.
Here in Korea, Samsung Electronics today posted earnings that beat expectations for the first quarter. Net profit down by only about 3%. What was the reaction in the Korean stock market?
Samsung Electronics' first quarter sales and profit were stronger than market's expectations. And since Samsung Electronics covers more than 30% of the Kospi market value, it does have positive impact on Korean stock market. Kospi and Kosdaq both had positive movements today. Kospi increased by 0.7% and Kosdaq increased also 0.04% today. Particularly in today's market, foreigners and domestic institutional investors' massive purchase were a driving force in today's Kospi market.
All right, Professor Kim, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your insights, and have a great weekend.
You too, thanks.
Now, with a closely clustered spate of national holidays coming up, some people in South Korea have a long weekend, 6 days in a row, in fact. Many of those plan to travel around the country, but the government's warning that the coronavirus outbreak is not over yet. Jang Tae-hyun reports.
South Korea will celebrate Buddha's birthday this Thursday, Labor Day this Friday, and Children's Day on Tuesday. That means some people can end up with a 6-day vacation just by booking a day or two off work. And many of those people are planning to take this chance to get out from the city. Seoul Station has been relatively empty due to the COVID-19 pandemic, but the number of passengers is slowly starting to increase. After being stuck at home for much of the year so far, people are jumping on this chance to travel.
My child hasn't been going to kindergarten for 2 months, and we feel so frustrated staying at home for such a long time. That's why we're planning to go glamping.
Since it's almost impossible to travel overseas, people are heading to parts of the country that aren't too crowded.
We're planning to travel for 2 nights and 3 days starting from this Thursday. Due to the coronavirus, we're heading to Tamyeong County where not many people are heading.
Around 180,000 people are planning to fly to the southern resort island of Jeju. During the holiday season, all passengers arriving on Jeju will have their temperature checked, and those over 37.3 degrees Celsius will have to get tested for COVID-19. Also, while there, people have to wear face masks at indoor tourist sites. In other provinces like Gangwon-do, temperatures will be checked at bus and train terminals using thermal cameras. Also, outdoor tourist spots will be disinfected. To prevent the spread of the coronavirus, the Korean government has advised people to stay home or at least follow the safety guidelines if they do decide to travel. Jang Tae-hyun, Arirang News.
Austrian Prime Minister Sebastian Kurz has said that direct flights between Austria and South Korea can restart soon, now that Seoul's got its outbreak under control. Kurz was speaking Tuesday with President Moon about how to prevent a second wave. President Moon said it's important to keep the daily number of new cases below a certain number by taking strict quarantine measures as people go back to their normal lives. Early last week, the EU Aviation Safety Agency removed South Korea from its list of high-risk areas. South Korea's National Assembly later this evening set to pass the government's second supplementary budget, which will free up relief money for payments to households. The proposal is worth some $10 billion, and lawmakers will be voting on it in a plenary session set for 9 p.m. Korea time. Once passed, the government plans to distribute disaster relief money to some 21.7 million households nationwide by mid-May. The amount will vary depending on household size, with households of 4 getting about $800, while 2-member households will get about $500. That does it for this newscast. Thank you for watching.